Hey, it's White Boy Chris. If the Pat Downs ever made you laugh, then join our Patreon and support us. Get bonus content, a t-shirt, or an autographed copy of Rabbit, Miss Pat's autobiography. Visit MissPatComedy.com for the link to the Patreon, and while you're there, join our Facebook group.
Welcome to another episode of the Pat Down. This episode is kind of wild. You know, we want to know if Chris is racist or not. Stay tuned after the music.
The answer was yes.
All day, every day.
You better get up, get out, and tune in to this podcast. This Pat spit the truth, spit the real fact. Nothing but the ugly, classy at the same time. Pat got the flavor, these are not your same lines. That's the politics, she been on the real grind. It could be pretty but ugly at the same time. Just tune in, put your lock on the spin down. Ain't no need for the wait and turn it up now. What you talking about? Is it real though? And cut the game, you get no play like Nintendo. You wasted time, turn it up, nothing but the ugly. Straight off the top, everything she say, you know it's funny. Full blast, this a taste of the future. Listen on your iPhone, on your desktop computer. Share it, tweet it, ain't no way to beat it. Nothing but the ugly, turn it up and gon' repeat it.
So I've been getting a lot of inboxes on, you know, Miss Pat, what do you think of Joe Rogan? I really didn't know what the whole deal of Joe Rogan is because I wasn't online. I'm not online. I'm in the middle of shooting my second episode. And so today I paid a little bit more attention to social media, you know, and then I saw Joe Rogan make a clip that said, you know, that he had used the N-word in the past with these videos that they put out. It was a bunch of shit meshed together. And, you know, he apologized for what he said. And, you know, y'all, I look at life like this. And I've said this so many times. I truly believe that anybody can change. I do think white America don't know how the N-word affect us when it comes out of their mouth versus our mouth. It's more endearing, like you can say, my nigga. That mean I love you. But when white Americans say it, it's very fucking hurtful because it comes from, we all feel like it came from a hurtful place from their ancestors through our ancestors. But, you know, people ask me, oh, Miss Pat, do you think Joe Rogan is racist? I don't know what Joe Rogan was. When that video was so fucking old, Joe Rogan had hair. That's how fucking old that video was that I saw.
Have you seen his? Have you seen his video?
I saw his apology video.
I've got it queued up if you want to play it.
I mean, we can play it, but I saw his apology video. I will say this about Joe Rogan. He's always been nice to me. I don't think Joe Rogan is racist. I don't give a fuck what y'all say. And it's not because he put me on his podcast. He helped launch my career. And y'all know, I would tell you, I don't fuck with that person. No matter what you can offer, give me, I'm never going to be around somebody because I feel like I can gain something from them because that's not how I'm built. I don't believe Joe Rogan is racist. Did he say some shit back in the day that somebody sliced together that was wrong? Yeah, but the original video ain't out either. What we see is supposed to be all sliced together. I mean, I know one of the things they say he said when you walk into a room, it's like walking into the Planet of the Apes. But I also heard that it was more to that conversation. Now, I don't know why you would refer to Black American as Planet of the Apes, but did he say the wrong thing years ago? Yes. Do I believe that everybody grow? Not everybody, but a lot of us do. I look at this. If you judge me from my past, a lot of people won't fuck with me. And mine wasn't over words. Mine was over action. His was words versus what I've done in my past. You wouldn't fuck with me. I wouldn't fuck with me. Dion, as a Black person, how did you feel? What do you think?
I've never met Joe Rogan. I don't know if he's racist or not. I do know he knew better at the time and he didn't care. And everybody wants to say, oh, they're trying to cancel Joe Rogan. They're trying to cancel Joe Rogan. Nobody's trying to cancel Joe Rogan. People are holding Joe Rogan accountable for what he did 11 years ago. That's all. That's it. You can like it. You can dislike it. You can not give a shit. I personally don't give a shit because what Joe Rogan said has no effect on my life whatsoever. Yeah. If you listen to Joe Rogan, that's your choice. If you don't listen to Joe Rogan, that's your choice. My issue is everybody wants to be mad at him for apologizing. I'm like, that's what grown people do when they feel like they made mistakes. You can't be mad at Joe Rogan. You can't be mad at Joe Rogan for apologizing. And if you don't accept Joe Rogan's apology, that's on you. Joe Rogan can't do anything else after saying sorry. That's literally all he can do. He can't do nothing else.
It's like when Kevin Hart said the F word and the gay community went after him and Dave Chappelle. And, 11 years ago, things was different. What we can say now, we couldn't say 11 years ago. Podcasts was just beginning to take off, and I felt like people probably thought they were proud. I don't fucking know. But I try to take everybody for who they really are. I've never known people to say Joe Rogan. I had never heard of this until now. I would say this to the public. That's not a Joe Rogan. But what I seen on the video, that's not the Joe Rogan I became friends with and came to care about. You know what I'm saying? And I truly believe everybody grows. 11 years, you can learn and do a lot within that 11 years. So
my thing is he has to be willing to take the lumps his apology causes. I mean, at the end of the day, if you say you're sorry and you are remorseful, you have to deal with what comes from the things that you've done. Like there is a cost when you've done something wrong that you have to pay, whether it's them deleting your episodes or people not liking you for 6 to 12 months.
I would bet money that Joe Rogan controls his content and he wanted to take those 70 episodes down.
What was the 70 episodes about?
It was mostly I episodes with Kreischer.
24 of them only had the N-word in it. So,
yeah, I mean, a lot of the episodes that were.
I was surprised they didn't take Mars Day.
No, yours was fine. I would bet you he wanted to take a lot of that stuff down. It wasn't just about the N-word. Like, he probably, Rogan. I've watched Rogan through Miss Pat understand the power that he has and the influence that he has, and I think he's coming to grips with some of that. And he's doing it in a really responsible way. Like his behavior's changed. When he got checked, he got apologized. He's not doing that anymore. And that's different than, the Trump model, which is you can't cancel me. I can say whatever I want. Like I think it's hard. We're in this place where people, if they can't experience something or they don't have that experience, they don't think it's real, and that other people are experiencing, they're just propagandized. I think I was always one of those people, why can Miss Pat or Dion say it and I can't say it? But I remember being with you, Miss Pat, at a comedy show, and a guy was telling you a joke, and he thought in the context of the joke, he could say the hard R N-word to you and you'd be fine with it. And I just watched your face change. You experienced that word in a way that there's no word that makes me experience anything. So I think it's, because I can't experience that kind of thing, it's hard to relate to it. But it doesn't make it any less real for black people when they hear the N-word. So I think it's probably helpful for you guys to explain why that is an impactful word for people that don't get it.
And I've said this on this podcast so many times, like it's an endearment, nigga. We talking to each other, nigga, get your ass over there. But when for some reason, and I don't know if it's because of our ancestors or how fucked up this country is. Hold on for a second. Set your ass down. Oh, okay. I don't know, but it's feeling behind it. When you said, I feel hate. When Dion said, it's almost like a term of endearment. It's not, I don't feel hate. It's a different feeling. I can't, and one of the things that Joe Rogan said, baby, you're going to have to be quiet. And it's one of the things that Joe Rogan said when he was giving his speech. He said it's the only words that out there that give you kind of two different feelings. If I'm not mistaken, he said something like that.
I don't remember that, but I didn't watch too closely.
Yeah, but it is when it comes from you, Chris, it's hate. My mind automatically.
Well, let me ask
hate.
why though, because Dion and I have the same affinity for you. We have the same feelings, right?
We don't. You and I have different understandings of Miss Pat. You don't understand Black Miss Pat the way I understand Black Miss Pat, and you can't because you've never. There's a certain level of experience that you have to have in order to understand certain things, and until you gain that experience, you'll never understand it. And that's what white people don't get. It's like there's certain experiences that you're never gonna have, therefore you can never understand. And people go, "Oh, well, that's racist." We know. Trust us. We know. We would love for you guys to be able to experience what it's like to be hated based off what you look like. Everybody screams about equality and wanting the same things. You don't want to have the experience of what that word feels like hearing it from somebody who doesn't understand how it makes you feel. It's a terrible, terrible. That word means death. When people said that word, that meant they felt it was okay to kill you based off what you look like. Anybody who was okay using that word, saying that word, said to your face, I think you're less than human and I don't care about you.
And I think that's why Black people turn it to more like an endearment. You know, like when you hear Black people, my nigga, it's usually, I hate to say this, but it's usually, unless they about to kill each other, usually in a positive manner. Am I right, Dion? It was such a negative and more powerful word that we as a Black people turn it into, you know, I love that nigga. That's my nigga. You know, we mostly turn it into not mostly, we turn it around so it can be used in a positive manner. And, you know, like, you know, when white people use it, I don't give a fuck how you use it. It means you hate me. I feel it. It hurts.
They don't understand the strength it took to overcome that word and to take the most vile word ever created that was used to kill people and to turn that into a term of endearment to where when we say it to each other, it means something completely opposite of what they meant it for us. Like you can't wrap your head around the psychological ability to do that because white people never have to do. Y'all don't have to do that.
Do you think the first guy that used it as a term of endearment got his ass kicked?
No.
like how did that process of like turning it into a term of endearment work?
The same way that when y'all gave us chitlins and slop and we turned it into cuisine.
Don't say y'all, say white people. He didn't have anything to do with that.
That's what I mean. I don't mean Chris particularly. I mean white people.
It's like yeah. When they gave, well, we'll take the bacon, but you niggas can have the guts. And niggas say, oh, well, these are chitlins, motherfuckers, and they taste good. You know, I mean, it's just like Dion said, is everything that we had to take. Our ancestors had to take that was considered shit and made something out of it.
And it's not that they wanted to. It's just that was the coping mechanism they needed to survive. In order to be alive, you had to deal with certain shit. Like, so when people like when comics say it, let's put it in the context of comedy. Like when white comics are telling a joke that has the N-word in it, I always ask them, I go, are you getting the laugh because of that word or are you getting a laugh because of the joke? Like, if you can't get a laugh without using that word, then what does that tell you about your ability to write jokes? Like, you're not doing yourself any. That word has a cost. Everybody know it's 2022. Everybody know how much that word costs.
Kramer lost his career in 2006. Like, and that's where you're right. Rogan knew using that word, he shouldn't be using the word. Like,
so you cannot complain about the cost of that word. Like, you know, it's an expensive word. That word costs life. And if you're not willing to pay that cost, why are you even tiptoeing around the idea? Because I've read people say, well, if they can say it, why can't we say it? Oh, you can say it. Go ahead. But you know the cost it costs in a free society. You know how much freedom of speech costs in a free society. The government can't do shit about it, but everybody else can, and they will.
White people, just leave the word nigger alone. It's the ER, the AR, the END is not for you guys.
It's just not worth it. You're not going to gain what you think you're going to gain. That quote unquote freedom is trust me, is not worth it. It's not worth it.
I did a podcast and I woke up to a long ass email and a fan was like, well, you went on this certain podcast. I won't say the name of it, but you were sitting next to these people and I don't know. And I could tell somebody, either they was an angry woke white person or they was an angry black person. Because this podcast, I don't know if you was aware that this podcast you went on, that this certain female comedian, you white lady used the N-word. And for you, and they showed you a video of somebody. I know exactly the podcast. They showed me a video and somebody using the N-word and da. And they laughed at it. And they was like, I don't know if you was aware how much these people had used the N-word before you had did their podcast. I didn't know. Honestly, I did not know that these people had used the N-word before I ever done their podcast. And they would sit there and they were laughing. I was like, oh my God, here we go. You know, and the person, I just want you to know that I am aware of every white person that used the N-word. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, so what about that? I mean, Rogan, it was in the
it wasn't Rogan podcast.
Well, I'm going to use him as an example. Like, in the context of the way he used it, in jokes or in retelling stories or talking about Red Fox, there wasn't malintent behind it. What do you do with that with Joe Rogan now? How do you go back on his show? Do you stop fucking with him? How do you approach that?
I mean,
there's only two things you can do. You can accept his apology or you cannot. Like,
was the behavior changed? And he's changed his behavior.
His apology. I mean, as a human being, we all make mistakes. Honestly, we do. In 2000, whatever that happened, he should have known better if he didn't know better. But I would accept his apology because I think as human beings, we all make mistakes. I think we all have to grow. And the way you grow is you fuck up. You know, you shouldn't fuck up like that. But I'm not going to hate him for a conversation he had and use the N-word. I hope he will learn from it. I hope he will never do it again. But just to say I would never speak to him again, that won't happen. I'm not going to sit here and lie. If I didn't speak to half of the people that didn't say nigga, I wouldn't be talking to Dion.
I was in a group chat with friends, and one woman said, she goes, if I stopped talking to every family member that said the N-word, I wouldn't be able to go to Thanksgiving anymore. You know, like that
might be good for her.
All right, she's like, it's better.
There's a huge
to talk
difference.
It through.
There's a huge difference between the context in which Joe Rogan was saying it and the family members at Thanksgiving. There's a huge context difference.
I'll take Joe Rogan, okay?
So Dion,
family member might kill a motherfucker.
Does context and intent matter to you? Like in some of this stuff, like how do you come down on that?
It doesn't matter to me me personally, and I'm just speaking for me personally, I don't think any white person should ever say
I do too. The
word, period. Not because of how it's going to make me feel, but because of the respect that white person should have for the way that it could be misconstrued, make me feel, or their own simple self-respect. I can't look at a white person who says the N-word and think to myself, this person has self-respect. Because no self-respecting white person would disrespect somebody like that, let alone themselves. Like, it's just disrespectful to yourself. If you say you're not a racist, don't do racist things. And one of the most racist things you can say is the N-word, period. Like, you should not be saying it. You should always, always, always say N-word. Why?
And
so no one ever has the question go, up. Did he just Did he
And
just
they're gonna
cross the
come
line?
back, Dion, and they're gonna come back with, well, you said, and we have to answer it. Again, when we say it, it's more of a term of endearment. Or it feels different. It just feels fucking different. Chris, if you call me a nigger, I'll feel it in my chest, and it will hurt my feelings. When Dion called me a nigger, I don't feel it. Don't ask me why we're built like that. I don't know.
It's personal experience. It's the experience that word has created within you and in me and in Chris. That's the difference between him saying it and me saying it, is the experience that I have with the word and what it means, and the experience that Chris doesn't have with the word and what it means.
Yeah. I'm on the opposite side, where when somebody says it, it's like, you're all with me, right? And you're not on the other end where it's like, they're going to fucking kill me, or they want me to die, or they, it's like, it's a different experience. But so to play devil's advocate, like where does that, if you start taking words off the table because of how it makes people feel in a comedy context, where does that end? Like how do we deal with that?
So I'm a comedian. I can say nigga. You can't. I'm never going to stand on stage and call a white woman a cunt, because I've seen a white woman being called a cunt where it really fucking hurts. So I'm never going to call a white woman a cunt. You'll be a bitch. But I saw somebody call a white woman a cunt, and it almost had the same effect as the N-word. You remember that, don't you, Dion? Mm-hmm. And so I asked Dion, I said, I ain't never fucking, because cunt ain't a word that we get called as black. Well, we get called black bitches. And I think me and Dion was talking, he explained to me, he said, that's like a black bitch. And I was like, oh, I'm ready to go kick that nigga ass. You know what I'm saying? So it just, you don't say the F word. You do not say that, because that word is embedded in hurt for gay people. You don't say bulldogger, you don't say sissy, you don't say those words, because those words has so much pain for the gay community behind it, and we know that. And since we know that, why say them? Why say them? Because they, no matter who mouth they come out of, they hurt. You call a gay man an F, you call him a sissy, you say bulldogger. My daughter had to sit me down and say, Mama, you can't say bulldogger. That's like saying the N-word to black people. I'm like, what? So if you know not to say those things, and I know not to call a white woman a cunt, because first of all, I don't want to make her, no matter how many, I call her a white bitch first. I don't even think cunt is in my vocabulary to even think that fast. You'll be a white bitch first. But I've seen white women get called cunt and go into tears.
Well, I mean, I know you would never use those terms in anger, but we've joked in certain ways on this podcast. Like,
not why I call no white woman no cunt.
No.
Here's what I would say. If you can't afford the cost of the word that's going to cost you the most, don't buy it. It's not. If you can't self-censor yourself to be
careful with your words and your vows.
Yeah, if you can't afford it, why are you trying to, like, as a comic, if you can't pull that joke off without using that one buzzword, then you're not doing your job. If all you got is that shock value, then you're not doing anything that hasn't been done already.
And like, even when I'm writing gay jokes about my daughter, you have to be careful not to offend. You have to be, I try to think of, how is this going to make the gay community feel? Or I go talk to my daughter, or how is this going to make this person feel? Like, even when I did on my special, I used the word retarded. I had to explain. My uncle was born in 1957. There was no special needs back then. They was called retarded. Open your mind. But even that word today, you can't say it. But I had to take them back to when I was a kid, because that is the word that I use. So you just, as a comic, as people in the world, you just have to be careful about what words you can't. And I remember when we did the episode on the Miss Pat show about the derogatory words. I had no idea you could not say Indian giver.
Yeah, you can. You just shouldn't. You shouldn't say it.
Yeah, the word have changed. So when you can walk around and just offend people because you were the superior people, or you just thought words don't matter. They matter now.
People always. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Pat. Go ahead.
You got kids in elementary school. They're not built like I was, where you call them fat and they're ugly and they're just jumping off buildings, not even thinking twice. what their life could have been. So I think you, as people,
Chris, you asked, where does it stop? It stops at the words that we've created to hurt each other. So whatever word you create to hurt someone, that's where the line is. When you cross
Google
that Google Yeah, I think I think it's important to have, like, Miss Pat has her daughter to go to, or like Dion and I had a conversation about this morning, or, you know, my friend Blair, she and I talk about indigenous people and racism all the time. Like, you've got to have people in your life that can educate you, that can hold you accountable. And it's not even like Miss Pat and Dion have to hold me accountable. Your presence in my life makes me think, how would this be perceived by people I love? Like, if there's ever a question, it's like, it's a matter of, like, would my friend be hurt by this? You know what I mean? So having your presence in my life makes me think about all these different things. And it's not a matter of, like, there not being a line. It's a matter of, like, what is decent towards the people I love, you know? And so I don't know if that makes any sense or matters, but, you know, having people that you can talk to about their experiences just enlightens you and makes you think a little bit differently about how you do comedy, how you do radio in my case, like, and, you know, why intentionally punch down? Don't punch down, punch up.
You know, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I do want to tell the truth and tell you how I feel in situations. So, as a comic, it's a lot harder now than it was before, because Richard and they probably could get away with a lot more. You know, you could say, I remember in Raw, Aaron Murphy said the F word. You can't say that shit you can say it, but what would it cost you? And it better be a really good joke that don't piss nobody off for you to be able to use that word and get away with it. So, I mean, like I said before, the F word might not cost you like the word nigga will, but you better, especially if you're not gay, then it's gonna be hard to use the F word. If you're not black, you shouldn't ever be using the N word, because, like Dion said, it's like Wheel of Fortune. Your vow might not be there, or you might not spin the wheel right. But back to Rogan. I don't think Rogan is gay. I accept it. I mean, gay. I mean,
that was such a great Freudian slip.
I'm like, wait a minute, he did suck his own dick one time.
It was that time outside the Neil Young concert.
I don't think Rogan is racist. As a Black American person, as a friend of mine, I accepted his apology. I haven't looked more. I mean, everybody changed. And I might get some slack. How dare you? You know, everybody grow except Donald Trump.
I think there's a huge difference between those two. If you listen to Joe Rogan, his heart comes from a place of wanting to understand. Now, he's not always going to understand in a way that makes everybody feel comfortable, which is fine. But if you think in your heart that Joe Rogan is racist, I think you've misjudged Joe Rogan. Whereas opposed to Trump, it's clear he gives a fuck about nobody but himself.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is the exact opposite of how Joe Rogan is.
And I don't say that. Joe Rogan is the type of person, and it's not because I'm Black. It's because I consider him a friend. Random days I can look down at my phone and he'll say, "I love you, Miss Pat." Never end. He was like Bob Saget. He never ends a text message without saying, "I love you." I don't have shit to give Joe Rogan. I'm not rich. I can't open no doors for Rogan. The closest I get Joe Rogan to anything good is a soul food dinner. That's all I can do, is get him some real good Garyana cooking. That's the best I can do for him. Because he got more money than me. He don't fucking need me for anything. But do I think he care? Yes, he do. Do I think he's a real friend? Yes, I do. Has he been nothing but a good person to me? And I won't even go all into details of the things that he's probably done for me. I don't have to. That's not what I care to do. And it's not about no money. You know, I don't think he's a fucking racist. he's a good person. Always has been good to me, and probably do a lot of good things we don't know anything about.
Again, I don't think Joe Rogan has hate in his heart. I just think he made some bad choices. And if you don't want to forgive him for that, that's fine. I mean,
is it? I mean, at what point point everybody fucks up? There isn't probably a white person in your life that hasn't said the N-word at some point. Like, at what point? And I'm not just once or twice, yeah, back a long time ago, but never repeatedly, regularly, or anywhere near a podcast for sure. That's why I'm just like, I don't buy that this was just sort of a careless thing. It's like, you know, but when somebody,
what do you think? What do you think? You're white America. What you never told us what you thought.
I think that Joe Rogan knew what he was saying because in my entire adult life, working in radio for 20 years, you're very cognizant of your words, what effect it has on people. I think, you know, he could get away with it, but I think somewhere along the line before this moment, he learned his lesson. He stopped doing it. He's been checked by somebody. He's changed the behavior and he's contrite about it. And so therefore we need to move on. And there's got to be a standard of people in public life of how do we move on when somebody fucks up? Because you can't have a functioning society where people are contrite, they change their behavior when they're checked, and then let's just destroy that person, fuck them, right? I think the timing of this, like, you can take a 30-second clip of 12 times that somebody said a word like that, chop it together, and wait for the moment when they're under fire for misinformation and the news has it out for him. He's bigger than the news. He's more watched than CNN. There's valid criticism in the fact that he doesn't have the ability to fully check somebody like a Dr. Malone or a Dr. McCullough, but he has every right to talk to those people and have those conversations and should.
Now, I don't agree with his vaccine thing.
And you don't have to, but
that's my opinion.
But the fact that he has elevated these people means that we're going to get more answers by people countering them. Like Spotify did the right thing and saying to Science Versus, go listen to these episodes and counterfactual, like, check him. Because I want to hear it. Because I heard the doctors, they were persuasive, but I also don't know if they're bullcrap or not, right? So, like, I think the concern for most white Americans is like, I know I fucked up. I know that somewhere in my past somebody can say that I fucked up. You know, and what happens when we how do you move on?
When you do something wrong and you apologize for it and the person you're apologizing to is still upset, you don't just retract your apology because they didn't forgive you right away. That's not how life works. However long it takes for the person you offended to get over the offense that you caused them is their prerogative. And all you can do as the person who apologizes is be sincere. If you're really sorry, then you have to deal with whatever it is that is the cost of offending someone, is dealing with the hurt that you gave them. And if they're hurt for a day or an hour, that's something you got to deal with. You don't get to control how long they feel the way they feel. If you don't like it, don't fucking offend them. That's not a hard concept to understand. Don't go around doing things that's going to cost you to make an apology.
That's
you
why
should
I just
know better as an adult.
Yeah, I think there's like if Joe Rogan loses
kiss my ass.
If Rogan loses,
that's why I only say kiss my ass.
If Rogan says, go ahead.
That's why I only say kiss my ass.
Yeah, I mean, like, if Rogan loses a portion of his black audience for this, then he shouldn't have said in the beginning. Like, when he knew you don't say that word as a white person without knowing there's a cost to it. So
it is a cost to it. And Black America is I would say this, Black America is very upset. They're very upset.
But nobody's more forgiving than Black America. Nobody. Nobody's more
go
forgiving.
To court and testify against ourselves.
My thing is the person who did the thing, you don't get to complain about the effect of the thing that you did. So whatever you did that was wrong, you have to own that. Like, I fucked up. And if y'all gonna bash me over the head, then y'all gonna bash me over the head. I'm still sorry. I don't like that you're bashing me over the head, but I got to accept that because that's what the fuck I did. It would be different if we were just canceling people for no fucking reason, but we're not doing that. Nobody's doing that. Nobody's taking away your right to say whatever it is you want to say. We're reacting to the things that you said. And if you're spending more than you can afford, guess what? Motherfuckers gonna come and take your shit. That's how life works.
Jesus Christ.
It's gonna be Miss Pat's brother. It's a burglar joke. Call back to a previous episode.
I mean, you know, we as America, just, you know, we got to be careful, you know. But, you know, I just wanted to answer people's question. No, I don't think Rogan is a racist. Rogan is a friend. Did he say some harsh stuff way before I met him? Yes, he did. Do I think he know not to say them again? Yes, he do. You know, we live, we learn. I've made some horrible mistakes in my past too, that I wanted people to forgive me for, so I can move on.
But you see, and the beauty of that, Pat, is you understand that not everybody's going to be willing to forgive, but that doesn't change the fact that you're sorry, right?
No, it doesn't. And you can't do anything about people that won't forgive you. You know, you deal with the people who forgave you and move on. I mean, I remember when Ari did that thing about Kobe, and the world lit up, and everybody was like, "He's a racist." And I said, "He's not a racist. He posted the wrong shit." You know, it was a joke. It was a bad joke about, you know, Kobe Bryant and all the comedian was beating him up and stuff. And I remember calling and saying, "You know what? Next time you're gonna post something about somebody black, ask me first." I said, because I would have told you that was not a base. He said, but I had just posted about Aretha Franklin. I said, yeah, but she wasn't as big as Kobe Bryant. And you know, and the world took it on where they was threatening his family. And I'm like, come on, people, it ain't that fucking serious.
See, that's the part of it that just is like, I care what you think about Joe Rogan, because you know Joe Rogan, you have interacted with the guy, you can tell me accurately what you think about all this stuff. But like the random person that wants to, well, he should just, his podcast should be banned and he should be put in a grave. Like those people are the ones that just sort of.
Those people just want to talk because you don't know that individual. Some people might tell you Miss Pat is a piece of shit, but for people who really knows me, know I want everybody to win.
Yeah.
I pushes the shit out of my friends. I don't want to get to the top by myself. I want everybody to be on top with me. I literally care about human beings. And I would never deal with somebody that's a piece of shit or that's a racist. Or I feel like that don't understand what it is, who I am, or what it is to be black in America. Like I said, I didn't know Joe Rogan when he made those statements. This Joe Rogan I know now is nothing but like family. And I know people gonna talk shit, but I look at people hard. Everybody can change. I change. And that's what the world is all about. It say each one teach one. Pull up, you know, you see somebody, how do we get ahead? By each one of us pulling each other up. And that's what I believe in. I would never deal with somebody that did not like me for the color of my skin. I don't give a fuck who you is. I don't need you. I didn't get here with you, and I'm gonna move on without you. So those are just people on the outside looking in at a person who said some shit he shouldn't have said 11 years ago or 12 years ago. But I look at it like this is a motherfucker roll back a lot of our shit 12 years ago. Half of y'all be canceled.
There's a lot of. Why would I be canceled?
All the white women you fucked and left.
All of them.
First of all, they knew what was coming. I don't lie to nobody. I tell you the Uber gonna pick me up in the morning. No, I people like Ari Shaffir are, you know, who provoke people for no reason because that's their thing, that's their shtick. You can either fuck with him or not fuck with him. You know, you got personal dealings with him. You know Ari's heart versus the person who never met Ari, who don't know that he's just kidding around. They see one thing. There's always layers to everything, right? So whatever layer you're on is the layer you're going to be at. Joe Rogan said some fucked up shit 11, 12 years ago, and now he's dealing with it and amidst the COVID cancel culture. Like, you can't, only Spotify can cancel Joe Rogan. You can stop listening, but Spotify is the one to be like, you know what? We don't want you on our platform anymore. But guess what? Joe Rogan already got enough money to create his own fucking platform. So you can't cancel Joe Rogan, even if you wanted to. So this whole idea that people are getting canceled because of the things that they said, that's not what's happening. If we take away your ability to say hurtful things to people, the world should be better off for it. And I always hear you say, Chris, well, it should be allowed to be out there. I'm like, that doesn't help anybody. If you are one of those people who thinks I need to hear both sides of an evil argument to make up my mind, you've already lost.
Yeah, but who defines what is evil?
We've already defined it. It's been defined.
But I don't agree with you on that, because I look at it like this. I should be able to say, Chris, I smell your ass.
Yeah.
I should just smell your ass and just keep killing my nose. When I can say, Chris, I smell your ass, you need to wash it.
Why couldn't you say that?
Because millions and millions of Chris Spangle fans out there will cancel her. You can't talk about me like that without the Spang heads getting
It's
mad.
not talking about you. It's an observation of truth. She can smell your ass.
The reality
is that's not a canceling thing.
You can take something like his interview with the doctors. You can't hide that information. You can't suppress that information. You don't have the ability to. You only make it more popular the more you try. And again, the reality is that the more that you and there are plenty of people who want to deem that information as evil. He's doing an evil act. And in reality, all you do is, you make the information more scintillating. Like, people want to look at it. They want to see it. It's not a matter of should people talk about certain things or have these certain things. It's what's the most effective outcome. And you determining
was him putting a disclaimer on it, right? If you're going to have that discussion, be responsible.
Right. And him coming out and saying, I'm not being responsible enough, I think is very adult of him, because that is a legitimate criticism. You're not able to fact check. Yeah. That's literally what people were upset about, was the fact that he wasn't being responsible. They're not mad that he's got these quacks on. They're mad that he's having quacks on irresponsibly. Yeah.
That's what people are upset about. You can talk to whoever the fuck you want to talk to. Do it responsibly. And if you're not going to do it responsibly, don't fucking do it. Because if you do, this is what's going to happen. It's been proven. Before we got the internet, we knew that if you act up, you get in trouble. So I don't know why everybody's acting all surprised all of a sudden. Like it's just some new fucking thing. It's never been new. We just have more access to it because every fucking phone's got a camera on it.
In
my phone out of the room.
In the radio world, like the FCC and Howard Stern and the show I work, like it's all, this has existed long before, like now, the whole idea that everybody's being canceled is crazy. Like Howard Stern was the only thing that united this country and everybody wanting them off the air for a period of time. Now he's on Sirius and I can hear him talk about whatever he wants. There's always different avenues.
Charging case over there.
Well, we've lost Miss.
I don't know about he's the only one that united us, because we never listened to Howard Stern. But okay, if that's what you say.
It was a joke. It's fine. Well,
I think if Joe Rogan is going to have on Milo Yiannopoulos and he's going to let him spew all that racist bullshit and not check him, then the people who listen to that have the right to be like, you know what? I'm not going to put up with this. And I'm going to see if I can get some accountability in the room. Whether you like that or not is irrelevant. But that's what needs to happen is accountability. You got to be accountable for the things that you do. And if the government's not holding you accountable for it because you have the right to freedom of speech, then the entity that you're on, i.e. Spotify and its shareholders are the people who listen to it and download it and pay the subscription price. If they say, you know what, We're going to stop fucking with you because you're not checking this guy like you should, like we feel is necessary as the buyer of your product. That's how life works.
So
Joe Rogan has a choice to make.
So how do you feel, Dion? What do you feel about the whole?
I feel like Joe Rogan knew better. I feel like Joe Rogan has a responsibility now that he's reaching 11 million people to do the best job possible and checking himself and the people he has on his platform. That's all I can ask of Joe Rogan, is to do your best and check people when they need to be checked. Joe Rogan's not perfect. Joe Rogan doesn't know every fucking thing. Joe Rogan's going to be wrong again in the future. I don't hate Joe Rogan. He knew better.
Joe Rogan, but Joe Rogan having those guys on spawned hundreds of YouTube videos checking him. So why, if he has the cultural reach to present this information, and it's still going to be, you're going to be able to learn whether these guys are right or not.
Not everybody learns.
But that's not your responsibility to police him. That's the individual's responsibility.
As a consumer, it is my right to police him. If you're out there spewing information and you're adjacent to me, and I'm if you're doing all the wrong things and I'm like, I don't want this in my community, then yeah, it's my job to police you. Like, yo, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? That's not helping us. That's hurting us. That's my job as somebody in that space shared with you to be like, yo, what are you doing? It's the main reason why we have civility in this country, is when we're all in public, we're like, yo, this is how we're going to act. We're all agreed that this is cool. And we've all agreed that this is not cool. And then when you do the things not cool in that public space, people are going to be like, yo, why the fuck are you doing that? You as an offender don't get to be like, oh, you're taking away my freedoms. No, we all already agreed that this was acceptable behavior and what's not acceptable behavior. And when this shit shifts and change, because it does, because it used to be acceptable to spout the N-word all day, and now that it's not, if you're one of those people who don't want to get with the times, then guess what? You gotta fucking go. That's how life has always worked. They always exile the person who's not with the program.
So did you give us the answer, what you thought of it?
Yes. I don't like that he said it, but I'm not surprised.
Are you not surprised because he's white?
Yeah. I expect white people to do white people things. I live in America. That doesn't mean I hate you. That just means it comes with the territory. It's part of being an American.
I agree with that, because I expect niggas to do nigga shit.
Exactly.
I expect niggas to do nigga shit. You like, I'm not surprised you broke in my motherfucking house and you my next door neighbor and you watching my TV. I can see it through the curtain.
Nigga, you left the remote over here. I'm changing it for damn. Niggas don't never steal your remote. They just take your TV. You got a bunch of remotes in the house. They didn't know which one to grab, so they just left all of them.
So I expect you to do nigga shit. So, that's it. Hopefully we all grow from this and move on. I truly believe Dave Chappelle grown from it. I truly believe that Kevin Hart grew from it, when he said what he said back in the day. And Joe Rogan he'll also grow from it to realize, hurtful words bring on pain, or, make people look at you different. It's all a learning experience. And you cancel people like Bill Cosby.
It's not cancellation, it's accountability. You're being held accountable for what you did. Nobody's canceling you because of they woke up one day and was like, I don't like this person.
Accountability come with cancellation these days. Back in the day, you could say, hey, you can't be doing that shit. I'm gonna need you to make a public apology and move on. No, you get accountability and cancellation. CCC, and it ain't the credit card connection.
Somebody is somewhere. It doesn't matter what you say into a microphone. Somebody's going to be offended. Somebody's going to have a problem with what you say. But Dion's right. There's what cost are you willing to pay? How much do you really need to spend that N-word money? That was
a lot of people. A lot of people don't have N-word credit.
That's right. My balance is at zero.
And that's why you said
it goes for every other word too. Like the F word. You know what I mean?
Cunt, the F word, you're saying sissy, all of those words bring on pain. You know, we're just go watch my fucking episode on derogatory words. And you know, we have to grow.
Yeah, it's really good.
Episode 4.
Before we go, we need to talk about the special, by the way.
Oh my God. Tuesday. Today you listen to this fucking podcast. Or is this going to be a Patreon?
Yeah, no, this will be the main episode Tuesday.
And the other one going to go on the Patreon?
Yep.
Because we're on the Patreon. Okay. Yep. So today is the big day. Go watch my fucking special on Netflix. And if you live in Atlanta, you're going to drop the Patreon today, right?
Yes.
Okay. So today is a big fucking day. It's my fucking first hour Netflix special. Y'all want to hear something crazy because y'all know I'm always talking crazy shit. Go and fucking watch it. I need y'all to blow Netflix the fuck up. Don't turn it off. Just let it roll, 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 roll it, roll it, roll your boat, drifted down the street. Mary, had a little lamb.
Little Miss Ma. Start singing nursery rhymes.
That's 2 different songs, ain't it?
Yeah.
Fuck you, Dion. Every time I fuck up, Dion put his head down like a real nigga. Go and listen to my Netflix special, y'all, and tell me what you think. Let's talk about it. Because I'm crazy on that motherfucker. But I had so much fun, and I want to thank y'all for all the support. Today is the day. Go fucking listen. February the 8th.
Thank y'all so much for tuning in to another episode of The Pat Down. Make sure you check out my website at misspatcomedy.com for all of my social media, my tour dates, my book. Make sure you spread the word about my podcast. Please rate and review. Please rate and review and share. Thank y'all so much, y'all. I've been Miss Pat.